This is From Destruction to Dignity with Janice Pons. Each week, Janice shares her wisdom to enlighten, educate, and advance the culture in America today. Janice Pons is a mother, author, and free thinker, and your host for our podcast this evening. Now let's join your host, Janice Pons.
Greetings, greetings, greetings. Come on in. Come on in. Welcome, welcome, welcome. My name is Janice Pons. I am the host on this show, on this podcast, From Destruction to Dignity, Clinical Perspectives, Spiritual Truths. Now, those of you who have been watching the podcast for any period of time, you kind of know my flow. And it's expanded, as you can see, during the month of October. I have a specific type of focus. But my heart, for sure, is to promote thought, bring awareness, and point us collectively as a nation towards interventions. In our great nation, the Constitutional Republic of the United States of America. And we have established this month in October, because what I've been doing is framing our nation that we have an understanding. Wisdom is the principal thing. Therefore, get wisdom, but in all thy wisdom, all that you get understanding. And I believe, I've just gotten to understand on some things, so it's on my heart to share it, because it's going to help us to be more effective, because we got some powerful people in this nation who are leaders, and we have solutions. And people are waking up because they're realizing there's a lot at stake. There's a lot at stake with our nation. Our nation is under a ferocious attack. I've never seen our children under such an attack as it is now. And people are standing up. People are showing up at school boards. People are showing up at PTA meetings. People are showing up at city council meetings. People are speaking up, and they're getting involved. And speaking of getting involved, us getting involved is, our flag and our seal represents us as a nation. It represents us flowing together as one, forming a more perfect union. That's what forming a more perfect union means. And so what we've been looking at this month, I've been framing America, helping us to understand how we can make us have order, what things we can do that we understand. Why do I do this? What's that all about? And then we can joyfully participate in it and go, you know what? I'm praying over that. I'm going to ask God to bless that. When I got a revelation of what my tax dollars were going towards, I was like, wait a minute. I have a stronger revelation now of what a constitutional republic is, of the United States of America is, where the chief executive and representatives that we elect, and the rules that are set down in a written constitution, that's what a constitutional republic is. And they have a responsibility to us. They work for we the people. Our taxpayer dollars go towards paying their salary. So I have a right to show up on Capitol Hill and ask questions, as I did. I have a right to pray with them, ask them if I could pray with them. Just so many powerful things that I was like, wow, God, it's like you took me into a room, sat me down, opened up a curtain, and showed me things I hadn't seen before. So that is the case with me getting a revelation of finding out what my tax dollar what my tax dollars go towards, what it pays for. And so framing America, as we have done this month, I want us to end the month of October kind of quickly going there again, so we can keep it in mind, because it's going to be the force behind all of it coming together. Is a force behind what God has put on my heart. And he's put it on a lot of other people's hearts. But now I think it's going to be even more, millions of us, because we're going to have understanding. We got wisdom. We're getting wisdom. So therefore we get wisdom and we get understanding. So When I learned that my taxpayer dollars, our taxpayer dollars, 7 out of 8 of our taxpayer dollars, 88% of our taxpayer dollars go towards paying for, undergirding, supporting, solidifying these 5 pillars, my attitude changed. Why? Because I got understanding. If we don't have these things in order, we're going to have chaos. If we don't have these things in order, these 5 pillars established and locked in, we're going to be a big chaotic mess. And we got enough forces coming against us already to make that be the case. But we can do something about that. We're going somewhere about that. And it's expecting us when we get there. It's expecting us when we get there. Yeah, there's power in this unity. So one of the pillars that our taxpayer dollars go towards is making sure Social Security retirement payment will always be there. That's taking care of our elderly. They should never get old and have to worry about, well, I just don't know how I'm gonna make it, baby. Time sure is rough, Yeah, mama. Yeah, it sure is rough. But baby, we got you covered. We got you covered. Why? We're forming a more perfect union. We're flowing together as one. We're going to make sure that Social Security retirement payments are always there. Because you know what? It's the right thing to do. What's another pillar? Military. Boy, I'm a Blue Star mama. I am a Blue Star mom. Yes. I want to make sure that our military is funded. Because you know what they do? They protect us from all enemies, both foreign and domestic, to make sure we're safe. Ammunition, their salary, what they do. My son is on the path of a commissioned officer to be a captain. He takes it seriously. He wants to serve. I've met his colleagues, fellow colleagues. I love those guys. I love those girls. I love them. I want to help pay for their salary. I gladly pay for their salaries, contribute. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. They defend us. They give their lives. That's part of the oath that they take. For there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. I want to make sure, we need to make sure our military is supported, is paid for. Yes, that's the American thing to do. That's just as common as American pie. It's sliced up. Let's say it's sliced up into 5 pieces. It's got to be there. Military. What's another pillar that we've got to make sure is taken care of? Medicare, health care. We're taking care of each other. That's loving our neighbor as we love ourselves, yes. Medicaid addresses it at the state level, Medicare on a national, federal level. We can't ignore people and say, well, you ain't got insurance. Are you kidding me? We got to make sure. Here in Oklahoma, it's called Sooner Care. With the Medicaid, on a national level, Medicare. Yes, it's a part of what we make sure it's established. It's foundational. It's at the core of our nation. That's us flowing together as one. What's another pillar that we're going to make sure is always taken care of? Education. My God. We have to get back to being number 1 in our ranking in the world academically. We used to be there. We're not there anymore. China's number 1. The other nations that have far less populations, they have far less technology than we have. And they supersede us in terms of rankings, the ranking for education. We've gotten way off track. Wrong focus. Call it what it is. Wrong focus. If you want to do this, that, and the other privately, go on. You grown. But my God, keep your hands off our children. Protect their minds. Their minds are there to be educated on reading, writing, arithmetic, social studies, the arts, physical education, home economics. Let's bring it back. Shop. Let's bring it back. They came out of high school being certified to be a plumber and an electrician. Bring it back. Education. That I gladly have my money to go towards that. And the fifth pillar that we want to make sure that our taxpayer dollars take care of is to pay off the interest of our national debt, because that's the responsible thing to do. That's the responsible thing to do. Yeah. So those 5 pillars, remember, as we wrap up the month of October, we've talked about how it beautifully fits in with what our founding fathers did in 1787 when they wrote the Constitution that fit in with the 3 branches of government, the executive, president, and his cabinet, legislative, the House of Representatives. And boy, you need to listen to the Constitution. I listen to it every day. I want to get it in me, get it in my soul. The legislative branch, the House of Representatives, the senators, they work for us. They form laws, which starts with an idea. And that's they're working for we the people. That's the legislative branch. And the judicial branch, that's our courts, local, appellate, Supreme Court, being jurisdicted. And what they do is interpret the Constitution to make their decisions when they hear cases. That's our nation. So the preamble to the U.S. Constitution, I want to respectfully remind you as we wrap up the month of October, how our beautiful Constitution, as imperfect as our nation was, it said, we the people, the preamble of this Constitution, which laid out amendments and articles, down to even how we make sure that we got bridges now and roads and education system, military, all of that. All that fits under the Constitution. Watch this. We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America. Look at how it fits together with these 5 pillars. We the people, who is that? The 331 million of us. We the people of the constitutional republic of the United States of America, in order to form a more perfect union. Remember, that means flowing together as one. All 331 million of us, it's possible for us to flow together as one. How? We establish justice. You'll have your day in court. You got people that want you to get mad, cuss somebody out, and turn tables over. Then you're going to be in jail. No. You have a law. You have laws that are put in place that as citizens of this great country, people have to be held accountable to those laws. And if you didn't like it on that level, you can appeal it, and it can go to the Supreme Court. Establish justice through the judicial system. Ensure domestic tranquility. Ensure it. We want to make sure it's there. It brings order. Domestic is at home. Tranquility is peace. We want peace at our home. Can you see why the enemy of our souls has come against that so ferociously? He wants to keep us divided, keep us fighting, that we don't have peace. You got those of us that are going to stand together as one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all, loving our neighbors as we love ourselves, because we're upholding the commandments when we do that. Yeah, this is powerful stuff, guys. The enemy of our souls does not want us to get this, but it's too late. We're hearing it. It's in the atmosphere now. It's out there. We provide for the common defense, our military. Want to make sure they're paid. We want to make sure that we have the equipment. And if we have to confront Any enemy, both foreign and domestic, we're not going to leave our equipment to them. Another podcast. Provide for the common defense. Promote the general welfare. What is more general than making sure that our elderly are taken care of with their Social Security retirement benefits, the general welfare of our children with education, our military. You see how this fits together, hand in glove. Medicare, you see how it's fitting together? It's beautiful. And secure the blessings of liberty. That's God. He wants us free. The blessings of liberty to who? Ourselves, we the people, and our posterity, our children. We're not going to embrace some foolishness where the kid give it to them. They'll take care of it. Is one man all out for himself. Are you kidding me? Part of being responsible adults are making sure that we pave a way for our children, because we're to owe no man not one thing. Now that's God's perspective. Do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America. Do you see how it all fits together? In the midst of all this, we got all these issues going on. People trying to figure out how to pay bills. Are they going to eat? They're going to put gas in the car. How are they going to pay for their children's education? How are they going to pay on their loans, student loans that are due now? How are they going to pay? How are they going to start saving for retirement? How are they going to pay for extracurricular activities? How are they going to start a business? Under the previous administration, there were businesses starting left and right. Can we get back to that? Do we hear about that now? About people being encouraged to be entrepreneurs? If not, why not? Policies matter. A lot of people are getting a revelation of this, and they realize they fed up with the whatever party they were associated with. They tired of it. We got to save our nation. Got to save our babies. You see how we're flowing together as one. It fits together, but we have these issues. We have these dynamics that are going on, and they cause us to suffer. Suffer. And so tonight, from a clinical perspective, we're going to talk about enduring hardship well. I have had my behind kicked from learning how to endure hardship well, being faced with institutionalized racism. People telling me directly they were going to destroy my life and telling me what I would not be. I had to decide what I was going to do with it. Oh, okay, I get it now. My son is dealing with the same presentation in 2023. Baby, let me tell you how you endure hardship well. I'm a survivor. I'm an ADOS, American descendant of slaves. And no matter what ethnicity you come from, your ancestors had it hard too. They didn't know how they were going to make it. As my mama calls it, living from pillar to post. Enduring hardship. Well, what is a hardship? In the midst of all these dynamics framing America, the 5 pillars that we have to make sure that it's paid for. Okay? The preamble of the Constitution, we see how it fits together. I've driven that home. I've driven it home on purpose because we're going somewhere and it's expecting us when we get there. And repetition brings recognition. Repetition brings recognition. We start to recognize things that we didn't recognize before. And when we do, we go, what? Huh? You mean that I can go to my representatives and tell them that I'm holding them accountable and I have an idea and they can make it a law? We have solutions? Yes. They work for us, we the people. So we got all these dynamics. Our inflation's out of control. All this stuff's going on. Enduring hardship well. What is a hardship? It's a condition that is difficult to endure. My God. Woo! Time I said that, I remember one night I didn't know how I was going to make it. I didn't know. I did not know. I was like, God, I don't know. I don't know. Whew, I could almost cry right there because that night I didn't know. They were out for blood, and they told me they were. I was told, we'll see to it that you never become a school psychologist. Oh, really? I was terrified. Ooh, but I learned how to become better and not bitter, and I partnered with God. But I had to come up with a strategy and a plan to get through that, through the deprivation, through the oppression, through the life of hardship that was causing me to feel like I couldn't make it. Something, what is it, hardship? Is something you feel like you can't even bear. I've been there, done that, wrote the script, started a movie. Lack of comfort, constant toil or danger. Constantly running, trying to figure out how you're going to make it. Cortisol levels causes, can you imagine slaves running for their life from being lynched? Cortisol levels, cortisol levels being at an astronomical level just to live. Slaves were valuable. Do you know back in the 1800s, it cost $60 to buy a horse? And it cost about $2,000 to buy and own a slave. A horse was property and a slave was property. My great-grandmother was a slave. Food for thought. But under that whole presentation was if you didn't keep in line, you might be running for your life. Because if you didn't keep in line, you were going to get lynched. Enduring hardship well. We've come a long way. We've come a long way. America righted a wrong. So stop running around being offended all the time. Stop thinking that the white man is your problem. God put black people and white people, amazing white professionals in my path that scooped me up and mentored me. Black ones too. Why? They're Americans. That's the American way. I got educated, I got mentored by people that saw something in me. And they said, let's scoop her up because she's going to be a stellar professional. To God be the glory, I am. And I have that so in me. That's why I love working with interns, where we get educated, internships, mentorships, and we get good jobs. We teach our children how to save half the money and teach them how to invest the other. Therefore, they can participate in a system of wealth in this nation of real estate, stocks, and bonds. You got to teach that. So although we have trouble, affliction, and suffering, everything about how you come out of that is related to perception. Perception is in the eye of the beholder. So how am I perceiving my life in this negativity that I may be confronted with all of the emotions and thoughts that come from what? Perception. In other words, thinking negative thoughts in any situation is going to bring what? Negative emotions, which will lead to negative actions. So there are basic emotions such as anger, sadness, low self-esteem. They all go along with a negative perception. But let me tell you this. That doesn't mean that you shouldn't want to feel those negative. They're going to come. It's a given. But what do you do with them? Let's look at how you can change your feelings of suffering when the hardship hits you to a new perspective on your life. Boy, I could write a book on it, and I did. Read Stealing the Minds of America. You can get it on Amazon. That was the first book I wrote, Stealing the Minds of America. Hardship. Listen, enduring. When you get hit with any kind of hardship, it's difficult to know which emotions are going to come up. Fear, terror, you get grip. So one of the worst things you can do is to not acknowledge your feelings. You need to say, well, I'm scared. You need to talk about that thing. Name and explain. Name and explain. Name and explain. Name it. I'm scared. Don't, this silly man, don't have a bad confession. You better name what you're dealing with so you can get out of it. You accept, I am feeling scared. And it comes down to this. What are you going to do with it? So you feel it. Okay, I feel overwhelmed right now. I feel anxious. Oh, I can deeply breathe and get extra oxygen to my brain because I have strategies, skills, and tools now. I can massage the palm of my hand because I've learned that that's the palace of anxiety. And I can massage the palm of my hand, and I can go get a massage and get my feet massaged, and I can realize I can de-escalate. I can bring myself down. I can practice self-care. I feel it. But I can learn to listen as well. Yeah, listen. And you know what that brings? A shift. Where I get into a mindset of I'm an overcomer. Greater is he that is in me than he that is in the world. I am an overcomer. So you know what? It's time to start moving forward. Stop this offense. Always offended by something. Always talking about, listen, look, I could go here. This is a whole different podcast, but I'm going to touch on it. Talking about always offended about talking about what white people did to you. Stop. What about what you're doing to yourself? Are you eating right? Are you exercising? Are you taking care of yourself? Are you spending quality time planning for how you're going to come out of this thing when you're enduring it? There's more white people suffering than black people in America. You know why? Because there's more in the population. That's just as logic and deductive reason. They're suffering too. 61% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. 61%. That's every ethnic group that there is. I'm tired of hearing folk still wrapped up in race. Let that mess go. It's a distraction. Let it go. I said let it go. It's a distraction to keep you from moving forward. What's going to happen if you don't move forward? Find your inspiration in life, guys. Inspiration brings hope and desire. Get a strategy where you see the vision of where you want to be, and you start to fill in the details with a direction to start moving in it. The key here it goes. Here's your goal. Here's it. You got to have a solid action plan. And then you take action. Remember the solution-focused problem-solving model? Type it into Google. It's about 7 steps. Some have 5. It's all laid out for you. You don't have to invent it. And here's the key. Here's the key to victory. Follow through, follow through, follow through, follow through. Make your plan. Refuse to accept status quo. We're talking about enduring hardship well. You know what? Joshua 1:9 says, be strong and courageous. Do not be frightened or dismayed, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. Deuteronomy 31:6-8 says, be strong and bold. Have no fear or dread of them, those enemies, what they say, because it is the Lord your God who goes before you. He will be with you. He will not fail you or forsake you. So therefore, be sober, be vigilant, as 1 Peter says, because your adversary, the devil, goes around seeking whom he may devour. And I remember I got to the point in my life, I said, you may not devour me. I know who I am. So stand firm against him and be strong in your faith. Remember that your family of believers all over the world are going through the same kind of suffering that you are. In his kindness, God called you to share in his eternal glory by means of Christ Jesus. So after you have suffered a little while, he will restore, support, strengthen you, and he will place you on a firm foundation. Do you think I believe what I just said? If you have a lot of us that collectively believe this, don't you tell me this nation isn't great. Don't you tell me we can't make it. Don't you tell me that we can't go from destruction to dignity, because we're one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all, and we love our neighbor as we love ourselves. Good night.
Thanks for listening to this week's episode of From Destruction to Dignity with Janice Pons. Janice's mission is to provoke thought, bring awareness, and point people towards intervention when needed. As a reminder, this show is not therapy, but for educational purposes only. For more information, check out JanicePons.com or follow her on social media.
Education, affirmation, dedication, information, revelation. A new nation. We are God empowered. Strength is ours. Liberty, been set free. Education, affirmation, dedication, information, revelation.